The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Mesa, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35239. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find attached to the frame rail 2 open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver side. Moving up to the face of the bumper, dual air horns, passenger and driver side. On a slight angle of the bumper, you'll find an emergency warning light. Just inside of that location, you'll find the electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find a tubbed storage location, Velcro tie down. Over to the driver's side, you'll find a swivel discharge 1.5 inches. Let's move up onto the cab. On the outer edges, you'll find the turn indicator and marker light. Just inside of that location, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Just underneath the headlight on the passenger side, you'll find the unit 217. Directly above that, emergency warning lights, and in the center, your mechanical siren. As we look to the Pierce logo in the grille area, directly behind that is the release mechanism for the hood. Let's move up onto the upper section of the cab. On the windshield wipers, there are 3 on the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find a mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving over to the passenger side, you'll find an angled downward convex mirror. Moving to the brow, you'll find 5 clearance lights. Up onto the roof itself, you'll find at a slight angle forward-facing floodlights. And on the roof of the vehicle, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar is your opticom directly in the center. Above the opticom, you'll find a controlled spotlight from within inside the cab. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items that we just talked about. Let's first start underneath the bumper area, where you'll find the 2 tow hooks on the outer edges of the frame rail. Let's go ahead and take a look at the top section, where you'll find on the bumper extension your front bumper load. As we move directly to the center Pierce logo, you'll find the release mechanism for the latch, gaining access to the hood area. As we move to the very far right side, driver's side, swivel discharge, foam capable. General view here of the entire vehicle. Let's go ahead and focus in now on the cab area, first starting with the front axle, where you'll find Michelin tires, Alcoa wheels, and also a visual sight gauge for the axle. At each point of the step area, you'll find also step lights and perimeter lighting. Moving to the bumper extension, you'll find emergency warning lights. Moving just directly behind that, you'll find the auto eject shoreline power inlet. As we move up from that location, you'll find a side-facing camera. And then also at each of the doors, you'll find door latches, which are easily accessible with a gloved hand, and they also have a keyed access. Right next to the entry point, you'll find a grab handle for gaining access in and out of the cab. Directly above the tire, you'll find a side-facing lower emergency warning light. As we move up onto the cab area, you'll find an AM/FM radio. And then moving further up, you'll find a side-facing scene light. Moving to the rear cab wall, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator on the rear cab wall. Directly above that, you'll find a emergency warning light in the upper section of the cab corner. Let's take a look at some of the close-ups here. First, starting with the wheel and tire, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, and the visual sight gauge. To the A-pillar, shoreline inlet, 15 amp. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the cab area. We'll start first with the driver's area. Affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning placard information. Grab handle, electric windows, door lock, and latch. As we move to the seat pedestal area, you'll find an air inlet chuck. As we move up, you'll find your air tank pressure. And then as we move to about the right ankle of the operator,
you'll find this placard. This is manufactured for your department from Pierce Manufacturing. It indicates the 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, date of manufacture, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, all of the individual components, fluid capacity, and fluid type for each of those components. Let's move now to about the left knee of the operator, where you'll find the master battery switch. It is a red quarter turn. We'll move downward to the diagnostic panel. We'll go over that in just a moment. Moving further to the right, you'll find a speaker with volume control on the face. This is your backup camera audio. And then as we move down to the floor, you'll find accelerator, brake, and then 2 foot pedals, air horn, and mechanical siren. Let's go back to the panel. First at the top, command zone, engine ABS diagnostics, SRS transmission diagnostics, and then we have 4 switches down in the lower section. ABS diagnostics, engine diagnostics, regen inhibit, and then DPF regen switch. As we move to the floor, air horn, mechanical siren. Let's move back up to the dash area. Let's start first on the left-hand side of the dash with your 4-way flasher, hazard lights, ignition and start. Also a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. It will engage and disengage all emergency lights with one switch button. Moving to the right, headlight switch and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. Opposite side of the steering column is where you'll find the OK indicator and switch to engage the high idle. As we move to the left, you'll find the transmission, oil, DEF level, and water temperature. Moving to the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air. Directly in the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right of the preview of the operator. Identify a few items within this area. First, starting with the command zone, it is the touchscreen located on the left-hand side. It is also accessible with a gloved hand or touch screen. To the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad, digital push button with an informational note to pump in drive. Moving further to the right, you'll find your engine brake on and off switch, a settings for engine brake, low, medium, and high, drug bucks, which is your lock switch, also fuse block on off, mirror heat, and off-road traction. Beneath that, pull to apply your system parking brake, the yellow diamond, and then to the right, the green emergency parking brake release. Let's move further to the right. A few more switches on the right where you'll find your mechanical siren or electronic siren selector switch, load manager, auto lube fault indicator, mechanical siren auto cycle switch, and then also siren brake. Beneath that is your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump and pump to road, 2 green indicators before exiting the cab indicating OK to pump. On top, you'll find your flat mirror controls and convex mirror controls, air conditioning, and then also control module for the spotlight overhead of the emergency warning light. As we move overhead of the operator, let's first start with this yellow placard indicating the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. Also some switches here for emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, rear warning, and opticom. If you make any changes to your vehicle that may affect the height, length, or gross vehicle weight rating, please update this placard. As we move further to the right, you'll find a few more switches. Scene master, front flood, driver's scene, passenger side scene, and rear scene. All the way to the right, there is a blank which can be added for a future switch location. Let's move just to the right of this location, and this is where you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker control module. Moving further to the right, you'll find your traffic advisor control module. As we look directly overhead in the center, you'll find this red light indicating do not move your apparatus. When light is flashing, you have a compartment or door open. Let's move in between the officer and driver seat where you'll find this fuse box located on the top of the engine cowling. As we move directly behind the driver's seat, you'll find the cradle point in addition with the storage location for your cab lift manual handle. Let's move to the back and affixed to the door panel all of our safety and warning information. We're now in the crew cab area, grab handle, electric windows, door lock, and latch. As we look inside this area, you'll find 2 seats forward facing on the rear cab wall. Beside each of those seats, you'll find USB connection points for power. As we move forward of those locations, you'll find additional storage location on the driver's side. As we move toward the center, you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access into your oil check and transmission check for your daily checks. Let's go ahead and take a look overhead where you'll find the air conditioning unit. As we move back exterior to the rear cab wall, you'll find an additional pan door gains you access into this space. Directly beneath this space is where you'll find the foam pump discharge drain and foam pump intake drain. Let's move to the crosslay area at the very top section of the pump panel. There are 3 crosslays located within this area, crosslay 1, 2, and 3. They are all foam capable. You'll also find foam instructions for your Husky 3 foam system and also a specification placard. In addition, with a warning label, because of those crosslays coming from out of that area, there is the possibility of entanglement, and so we offer an entanglement warning hazard. As we start at the very top, you'll find the master intake and discharge gauge in the upper left-hand corner. Test gauge ports, which are currently plugged for vacuum and pressure and are for testing purposes. As we move down, the Husky 3 foam system module, which is your red module. As we move to the right, you'll find the foam tank level A indicator, and then directly above that, you'll find your recirculating line and engine cooler. Those are twist, not pull. As we move to the right, you'll find your throttle pressure governor. There's an also incorporated within the pressure throttle governor is a water tank level indicator. It is the blue module. Moving to the right, you'll find a round black audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound. You'll also find switches and an OK to pump indicator on the far right-hand side, and also additional scene light control. Let's move down from this location where you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge. These are also indicated by foam capability by the red indicator. As we move to the right, you have a wheel valve for your deluge discharge and also a warning label indicating when climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Moving further down, you'll find your fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air prime, and for best practices, at least 1,000 RPMs. There are 2 electronic valves located in this lower section, large diameter discharge and tank to pump. To the right, we have a warning pressure hazard because caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move down to the left, you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll go over that in just a moment. And then also a warning, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after receiving proper training. Back to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI test pressures. On the left, the associated GPM for test pressure, and to the right, the associated RPM at test pressure. In the upper left-hand corner is the unit identifier. Let's move downward on the pump panel and slightly to the right. Pierce logo, American flag eagle, large diameter pump inlet. To the right, tank to pump, tank fill. As we move further down, you'll find your pump drain. And then all the way down to the very bottom section, this is your manual pump shift. Let's move down just above the running board area where you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. On the far left-hand side, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet ball valve. It is a female coupling. And then also, once again, the warning labels at the very top section and additional discharge drains to the right. Let's move further to the right on the same plane. We'll start first with your minimum operation maintenance schedule. This coincides with the 150, 200, and 250. That's an informational placard. Also, your Watrous placard indicating the type of pump that you have and also its capacity. Down at the very bottom, we have a warning regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. This is the draft foam tank lever and fill location. Once again, you have a 1,500 GPM pump. Moving to the right, the pan door gains access to the foam operations. There is a placard on the side of the door which indicates how to operate the lever in regards to either horizontal or vertical. There is a pull-out step located on the running board section in front of the pump area. As we move just to the right, you'll find a foot pedal for your reel rewind. Let's move now through the rest of the compartments. We'll first start in the compartment just to the rear of the pump panel. And in the upper left-hand corner, you'll find your auto charge system. When plugged into shore power, this will become active, maintaining your batteries. As we move to the center compartment, there are 2 SCBA storage locations here, and also SCBA bottle storage with retaining straps. As we move to the rear axle area, directly to the rear is where you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel. It's the silver cap. As As we move the flap downward, it will expose the 4.5 US gallon DEF tank, which is the blue cap. Let's move to the last compartment in the rear, where you'll find at the top section a tool board. D-handle gains you access into this space. To gain access behind, there is a latch to return it back to its original locked position. General view, all compartments open. Let's move around now to the rear section of the apparatus. We'll identify a few things within this area. Now we have a compartment in the open position. 2 D-handles gain access into the space saver. Pull-out tray down in the lower portion. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find brake light, turn, reverse, and emergency warning light. Release mechanism, once again, on the lower tray is on the right side. As we move to the upper left-hand corner by the fold-down step, the pan door gains access to backboard storage, long-handled tool storage. I'd like to point out we do have some warning placards here regarding entanglement hazard, and then also fall, do not ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and if you are climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing on or off. As we move to the passenger side, you'll find a door area. Pan door gains access to the powered equipment rack. There are instructions for its operation. This is for gaining access to your ladders. General view underneath the rear section of the apparatus. We'll now move around to the passenger side. These are all of the compartment doors in the open position. Let's start with each of those compartments. At the rear, adjustable shelving and LED lighting inside the compartments. As we move toward the centered compartment, 3 SCBA bottle storage locations, in addition with bottle storage locations in the front and rear of the rear axle. Retaining straps located within each of these compartments. Let's move now forward to the next compartment. Forward, we do have a pull-out tray on the lower section. Release mechanism, once again, on the lower right-hand side. I would like to point out this is also where your exhaust is. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. We're now to the pump panel area on the passenger side. Let's first start with the pan door as we gain access into this space. This is where your intake relief valve is located. We do have some additional warning labels. Once again, if you're climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing on or off. Also, pressure hazard warning, caps may be under pressure. Let's move just to the right of this location where you'll find an entanglement hazard warning because of those cross lays. And then as we move downward on the pump panel, we'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move forward to this location, you'll find the passenger side auxiliary inlet. It's a 2.5-inch ball valve with a female coupling. Moving just upward from this location to the pan door is where you'll find the reservoir for the equipment rack. And same as the driver's side, you do have a pull-out step in the lower section. As we move to the cab now, you'll find same configuration. There is a lower cab door on the pan door, gaining access into this space, 2 latches. As we move inside to the cab area, affixed to the door panel, all of our safety and warning information placards, in addition with a grab handle, an upper section grab handle, door lock and latch, and window controls. Moving inside once again to the rear cab wall, you'll find 2 forward-facing seats. As we look overhead, you'll find push on and off white or red lens lights and also grab handles over each seat and door location. As we move directly behind the officer seat, you'll find your unit radio main module, and then you'll also find up above on the ceiling fans, multi-directional, 2 on each side. Let's move now into the officer space. First, starting with the door panel, all of our safety and warning information placards, door lock and latch, and window control. As we move inside, directly in front of the seat, you'll find SRS, supplemental restraint system, also a warning regarding that supplemental restraint system. On the left-hand side, you'll find a push button for your air horn. And as we move to the center section, you'll find your computer mount and also portable radio, chargers, and vehicle data recorder. As we move overhead, once again, push on and off white or red lenses. As we move to the forward section, you'll find an AM/FM weather band CD radio. Moving just to the left of this location, you'll find your unit radio. And then we also had a set of rocker switches. These contain the emergency master, scene master, front flood, driver's side scene lights, passenger side scene lights, and rear side scene lights. You'll also find the Go Light control module for the light directly over the emergency warning light bar. As we move exterior, you'll find your powered equipment rack houses a 24-foot extension and 14-foot roof. Let's go up on top of the vehicle in the cab area where you'll find your unit identifier E217. Also, these two placards indicating that this is a non-walking surface. As we move now to the crosslays, this is a upper portion view. These are the three crosslays located directly behind the cab wall. Into the dunnage area where you'll find the top fill locations for your water tank, which is the blue tank, and then also the green, which is your foam tank A. We'll go ahead and do a 180 now and look to the rear section of the apparatus. This is going to be your hose bed storage location. Also in this area is where you'll find your rear-facing 2.5-inch discharges on the front bulkhead area. Let's go ahead and take a look at some images with the cab in the upright position. When the cab is in its full tilt position, this safety bar should be in place. The next several images are that of the cab tilted area from the passenger and driver side, images of the engine and transmission area. Congratulations, Mesa, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35239. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.